So who else just saw that Sesame Street is being canceled after 56 years of being an integral component in every American's childhood? HBO says it's no longer profitable to run it. Yeah, apparently it's not profitable to keep running Sesame Street. I hate living in a capitalist system. So the parent company that now owns Sesame Street is Warner Brothers. Sesame Street became too expensive for PBS to license almost a decade ago, so HBO bought up the first-run licensing fees. So again, the argument for the show being canceled here is that it's not enough of a moneymaker, and Warner Brothers wants to focus more on their adult programming. So we can say it's all about profit in our horrible capitalist system that puts money above children's well-being, above culture, above education. But also, this is the time that I want to point out how Project 2025 explicitly stated that PBS needs to go. And they want to do away with PBS. And part of the reasoning for that was because of programming specifically Sesame Street and how it was too woke. It talked about too many progressive issues, and they felt it was indoctrinating children with woke ideology. So as we've seen the incoming Cheeto administration wholeheartedly embrace Project 2025 and rebrand it as America First, install some of the writers and architects of Project 2025 in his administration, it does make me wonder how much Warner Brothers here might be yet another media company complying in advance, bending the knee and obeying in advance. I did not expect my video about Sesame Street getting canceled to get quite so much traction. Maybe I should have, because Sesame Street was such an intrinsic part of the American childhood experience for over 50 years. I was not allowed to watch television when I was little, with two exceptions, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Sesame Street. So let me read this comment that was left on that video. Wasn't Sesame Street originally a nonprofit to help with literacy rates for low-income communities? Yeah, why such high licensing fees? Right, so 10 years ago-ish almost, PBS said they could no longer afford to first run Sesame Street. It was too expensive. And so HBO stepped in and said, we will pay the first run licensing fees, and then PBS can basically run Sesame Street as reruns for less money. But this first part, Sesame Street, 321 Contact, Electric Company, Free to Be You and Me, all of this really good work in the 60s and 70s with a focus on feminism, multiculturalism, reaching underserved communities, and education for our kids. This election set us back 50 years. How dare we teach children to be empathetic and emotionally healthy? Yeah, I mean, that's precisely the reason that Project 2025, now rebranded America First, is gunning for PBS, and especially PBS children's programming, which it considers too woke. Dismantling the Department of Education, banning books, infiltrating school boards across America, canceling children's programming that teaches kids how to be emotionally healthy, inclusive, wanting to cancel programs that increase literacy rates in our most vulnerable communities. Project 2025 is very strategic, targeting our children, not only indoctrinating them when they're young, but trying to remove positive influences, keep them ignorant, make education not only weaker but inaccessible. That's right out of a fascist playbook. Oh, and let's add to it cutting free and reduced lunch and Medicaid so that kids are hungrier and sicker and grow up to be uneducated adults that can be controlled by a fascist state. I read an article in The Advocate the other day about Sesame Street getting canceled, and I made a video, and it went way more viral than I anticipated. And folks in the comments were like, Sesame Street is not getting canceled. And yes, Sesame Workshop still exists. The show still exists. The issue that I was trying to address in that video was the distribution. Maybe, once again, I should have been more overt. But the point that I was trying to make was about Project 2025. And the way we've seen corporate media already complying in advance, bending the knee. ABC paying out $15 million, Joe and Mika on MSNBC going to kiss the ring, newspaper owners compromising the journalistic integrity of their editors and journalists. LA Times. And the point of my video was to draw attention to Project 2025 and the way it wants to dismantle so many beneficial parts of American society, and how there's a whole section about getting rid of PBS because it's a problem because of woke programming for kids, especially like Sesame Street. So while Sesame Street as a show is still existing, was Warner Brothers' decision to no longer carry it a demonstration of obeying in advance?